Hi guys, this is Robert Rivera with Trend Trading Academy, and this is the weekly recap number 39. I think we're almost at the 40, almost at the 40. And what an amazing week. I mean, this was NFP week, which by itself was dangerous. There's usually no retest during NFP week, and it proved again on a couple of occasions, but we did have several retest. We also had a setup on gold that I sent into the community, into the gold tab of the community, and that broke out for a huge amount of pips. And you're going to see, perhaps for the first time, so clearly how these weekly recaps can really help us. Let's go ahead and go to the charts. Let's see. Let me start with what is it that I want to show you? Which one is it that I want to show you? Oh, I should have gone here. Let's go here. Let's open this one. Okay, here you go. Let's start with this little tab right here. This is the first trade of the week. I already like this setup. This was GBP NZD because GBP USD had already broken out and it didn't look very good. As far as the setup is concerned, I didn't like the way it was lining up to send it to you guys, but this one did. This one looked pretty neat. This is the 1 hour time frame and it already looks very nicely consolidated. The golden zone had not been active yet, so I need to point that out. That basically means that in a jump like this, going all the way up. Let me see. Yeah, this is the better mouse. A jump right here, it goes all the way up like that. It hadn't retraced deep enough for this golden zone to really be active and be valid. Okay, so it hadn't done it yet. Let me see what happened. Okay, and in fact, it never did come below it. Well, it did activate it finally. That's why I removed the active. It came far enough down and closed far enough down that it activated the golden zone, but then it bounced right off of the 50. Again, now this is the 30-minute. I'm showing it on the 30-minute chart because I think it's clearer to see the breakout. This actually had a retest, break and retest right here, came to the 50. And then after that, it bounced from there and broke out, retested, jumped up for 64 pips. So you have both breakouts and retests on the first trade of the week, which was nice. GN doesn't always behave this way, so this was nice to see. Okay, I think this is gold, and that's not what I want to show right now. Let me move this all the way over here. Yeah, let me move that all the way over there. Okay, all right. Yeah, I think we're good. And then this was the next day. Yeah, another GBP NZD. The previous one worked so nice. I thought, oh, let me send it again, right? And this is nicely consolidated. Again, this is a 1 hour candle. Look how tight this is right in here, right? It had come, this one came all the way down to the 61.8 exactly of the golden zone. Again, just to show you again why we use the golden zone so much. It came exactly to 61.8 and bounced back up and is showing us perhaps a bullish intent because of that bounce right there. But again, it's still consolidating right now. Let's see what happened. This is what we got. Sure enough, it consolidated after the bounce and it broke out to the top. And then it came back inside again. It broke out for 78 pips with no retest. This is again is the kind of action that you get when NFP is happening, right? You get impulsive moves like this, a strong impulse move that if you can catch, you can get quite a bit of pips, and then price just returns into the zone. Okay, this was already a very tight zone as it was. This was all of 21 pip zone right in here between the breakout lines. So not very much in there, but then that's usually why we see such a heavy breakout. Notice the candle pattern right here, okay? Nobody should have been caught. Nobody should have been caught on a false retest here because once you have the candle pattern there with the evening star showing you, okay, this is it. We're done here. We're done going up for now. And especially with the continuous downward movement that it was doing. This is a lower high than this one, okay? So you should have not been caught trying to catch a retest on this, especially after it broke down below the 50 and then it broke back inside. So there is no retest here happening, all right? This was 78 pips, breakout, no retest. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next day I went back to GBP USD. I like my GBP USD. This is the hour candle. Again, nice consolidation going on here. This is why we do this. Price is right now on the 60, above the 50 moving average. Obviously, if it breaks down below, we'll go. But right now, it's looking like perhaps it could push up. Let's see what happened that day. And so sure enough, we had a nice little fake out to the bottom. helped right here by the stochastic RSI showing you fake out, fake out, fake out. And then it took off. This is the first attempt, like I showed you, like I talked about the pullback, right? This is the first attempt at breakout. It pulls back to a minor support. Look how this lines up exactly with this support over here or resistance over here before. Now it's support, right? It lines up perfectly with that, bounces from there and goes up for 31 pip breakout. This is the one that had many false. I think this had 4 fake outs here, here. Then it had, after it came back inside, it had another one and another one. It was just all over the place. In fact, this was a fake out right here on the 1 hour candle, 1 hour chart. This is a 30-minute. So this was a fake out on the 1 hour chart. This came right back inside. But it did provide us why, I mean, especially having taught you about the fake out and having taught you about the pullback, it provided 2 opportunities that were pretty clear on how to make these wins. All right, let's go to the next one. GBP USD, this is on the 4th. Nice wedge, right? We have a nice wedge forming here. Again, very nice setup. I like this setup very much. And I put it on the 30-minute because, again, on the 1 hour, this would have been like 3 candles here. But on the 30-minute, you can see much more what's going on. All right. So let's see what happened. It faked like it was going to break the bottom. Now, this little trend line break here, the trend line break here, or the wedge break here, would have paid out nicely. I didn't even include that. Okay, I just, I took the 25 pips. Let me see. I guess, yeah, it broke to the first to the top and retested and gave 25 pips up there. Then it came down, retested the bottom zone, bounced right back up. And with this momentum going up, you know this is going to break out. Okay, it breaks over the 50, it breaks over the zone, it breaks over the wedge. Plenty of confluence here. I mean, if you would have waited for the crossover, then that would have messed you up. But there's also a crossover right here of the 8 over the 50, and it goes for 75 pips break and retest. That's quite a whole bunch. Okay, and let's see. This is the last trade of the week. Oh, this is gold. This is the gold setup that I had sent. Yeah. So that was the last trade of the week, and then in the middle of the week, I also sent out this gold setup. I felt like gold looked really nice, especially with it had been coming down. It just created a new lower high. It's wedging into a pennant pattern, bearish pennant pattern. We have a golden zone right here that is rejecting from. So this is looking really nice for a potential catch from the break of the trend line. And look at this, guys. Oh my gosh. It broke, retested it perfectly, and then dropped forever. 380 pips from the trend line break, 0 to 11 pip drawdown, depending on when you entered here. Like if you entered at the break of the trend line and then it came back up and retested it, this is the pullback that we often talk about, you know, in the opposite direction. And then it rejected from there. That would have been, again, about 11 pip drawdown, and then it dropped forever. Okay, so that accounts, guys, the weekly trades without gold. Okay, without gold, that was 341 pips. 341 pips with no drawdown. 2 did not retest. 4 of them, again, were no drawdown. 1 was a fake out. And that comes out to 85 pips per setup, which is about 48 pips per trade, because we had 7 trades in those 4 setups. That's not including gold, guys. Gold by itself was 380 pips with 11 pip drawdown, perhaps, for a total of 721 pips that could have been caught this week. That is just remarkable when you consider that of all of those pips, the drawdown was really only 11 pips. And this is what I want to say about that. And I'm going to reiterate it again. I've said it many times before. I'll say it again. If you're catching, if the setups are giving 300, in this case, it was 700, but the gold is an outlier, right? That came out of nowhere. Okay. But let's go with the regular trade setups. The regular trade setups gave 341 pips, right? And of all those 341 pips, there was not a single drawdown. Then perhaps we should be waiting for the retest. That just seems to me like, again, of those 4 setups, 7 trades that were in those 4 setups, 2 did not give retest. So perhaps you would have ended up with 240 pips, 250 pips instead of the 340, but with a high probable trade with very little risk. It's just a smart thing to do, I would think. Okay, now let's go look at the weekly projections. Okay, this was pretty interesting. Okay, so as you know, every week I keep these weekly charts the same way so I can see the progress of what's going on. Last week it had broken out above the structure, and now we're considering perhaps it will either bounce here and break continuing up, but I doubt it. Again, very strong rejections here, or come back inside the zone. And so, if it broke back inside the zone, what could happen next? Perhaps what could happen next is a retest of this right here, and then coming back down. That is the more likely scenario, okay? That's the more likely scenario, either to the trend line or to the minor zone that's in here within all this. There is really, well, perhaps there is another little tiny little zone somewhere in here. Yeah, there may be another little tiny zone right in here that it could bounce from or hold for a minute. But the more likely scenario, after all these green candles all the way up, the likely scenario is that it's going to come back down and retest the 50, retest the trend line. It's going to retest something down here. That's what it looks like in my projections, okay? GBP NZD did exactly what we've been talking about for all this time, right? It broke back inside the channel. Remember, we've been doing this every week, okay? Channel that's been around since 2016. It finally climbed inside the channel about, what, 4 weeks ago now. It climbed back inside the channel, went all the way up, came back down, retesting this area, came back and retested the zone and went back above the channel. And once it went back inside the channel, I said, as if you remember, if you watch it, you can go watch the video. This is what I love about these videos, is that you can just go watch it. You can go back and see the video. Oh yeah, Robert did say that, you know. Came back, retested one more time and broke and went exactly to that zone. Exactly to that zone. Again, that was like 200 pips, 150 pips to 200 pips going up. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's look at gold. Look at what gold did. I mean, this is crazy, right? I put this here. I put this zone here last week. I put this zone here last week, okay? It broke. It had broken down. It broke down finally. And it didn't quite make it as a retest all the way up. It didn't quite make it all the way up there. But when it came back down after being green over here and breaking down below the weekly, after it broke down below the weekly red candle here, it kept coming down for, what was that? What was that? From last week to the end of this was, yeah, almost 500 pips. Almost 500, exactly to that spot. That's no coincidence, guys. Again, this is the benefit of doing these every week. So what could happen next with gold? Okay, well, it could bounce from here and go all the way up. It's not going to go all the way up at once. It's going to run right into this wall over here if it bounces, okay? But if it breaks down below, then let's go put another marker, okay? If it breaks down below, this is where it's going. This is where it's going. I don't know why my zone colors changed. I gotta find out about that. Okay, I don't like it. I don't like the colors. It's changing my mojo. But anyway, this is what this is the next zone. I mean, again, last week I said, well, if it breaks through now, it might retest over here, come down to the 1685, which is what it did, 1687 and bounce. And now it is hovering up here. Where's the next? Well, if it breaks through, it may come down to 1610. That's what we're looking at. And don't believe that it cannot happen. It will happen most likely. And even then, it is still a shallow retracement considering the huge jump that gold has had for a very long time. I mean, I don't think it's reached the golden zone yet. Nope. That's about a 38 point. That's about a 38.2. Let's go look at it. Okay. Let's go look at it here real quick at gold. Okay. Look at that. That's a 38.2. It just broke 38.2. Okay. So it's on its way to the golden zone. This line right here is the beginning. This zone right here is the beginning of the golden zone. So that is where I think it's headed, okay, to retest the golden zone, the 50% of this huge move. That makes absolute sense, right, guys? You guys already know about that, okay? And finally, GBP USD had rejected up here, as I had pointed out the week before. You know, I had rejected exactly there. And having done that rejection, well, the likely scenario is that it's coming down, okay? It broke. Let me see, did it break it? It's right there right now. It didn't quite break it. It is there right now. Okay, this is where it ended up exactly at the zone expected from this whole thing over here. It could bounce from here and hover for here for a little bit. But once it make up its mind as to what it's going to do, I think it's going to drop for quite a bit, guys. Let me see. Let's see. Let's take a look at this real quick. It's about right there. Okay, that's about right there. Just look at these scenarios over here where it was resistance, 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 resistance. Then it bounced from here. So that's likely the next place where it may retest if it breaks down from where it's at right now. That's about 240 pips. And of course, a bounce to the upside is a whole lot more pips than that. 400 and some. Okay, 400 and some. I think with the stimulus checks coming out and stuff like that, I think this is going to make the US dollar temporarily strong. Long term, it'll weaken it, but temporarily it'll make it strong. And I think then that will break it down. They'll break this back down to come down here to retest these zones, these previous zones. I just wanted to show you the value in doing these weekly recaps and looking at the projections of the week. Everything panned out exactly like we saw it happening, which is pretty amazing. I mean, pretty amazing. It should make us at least consider opening swing positions, small swing positions in favor of the trend that we're seeing on the weekly, okay? You wait for a signal, for example, here on GBP-NCD. Here on GBP-NCD, it had already come down and done this little action, right? So you wait for some sort of signal where this is probably going to come down a little bit and retest again the trend line. It comes down, breaks down below, starts climbing back up, Once it comes back in here, you're taking the long position and holding it until it gets all the way up there. That was about 2 days worth of work. Let's go look at the daily. Let's see if we can see it. Yep, 2 days worth of work once it came back inside, right? This day it closed below, and then this day it climbed back inside. And once it climbed back inside, it even retested it, gave you a nice little retest right over here. Okay, and you hold that for a couple of days, 1, 2 days, it hits your max position, right? You're not going to hold it beyond that. You already know that's a likely place where it might reject. Okay, and let's see. Once the bounce came up and closed above, well, you could have taken it from down here. But let's say you take it from the moment that it crossed that one right there, the previous daily, that was 186 pips. 2 days, you could call it 186 pips on that move right there. All right. So that's the purpose of doing these. So we can start seeing the bigger picture and perhaps taking advantage of the bigger move. I mean, I wanted to do that with GN. I'm just not accustomed to the swing mode yet. So that's why I didn't do it, but it was looking really good for that purpose. Okay, guys, I think that's it for now. Again, this is Robert Rivera, Trend Trading Academy, and I hope that this is valuable to you and that you're gaining from it. And if anything else that you feel that should be included, just let me know and I will consider it, see if I can add it to the weekly recap. Okay, God bless you guys. Bye-bye.